that this election will be free and fair, and as you see, preparations are going on well. We are not anxious.
Ndugu zetu hata walemavu nao wenye mahitaji maalum wamepata.
People with special needs have voting aid equipment.
Wanaweza kupata kupiga kura.
Mawili ambayo naweza nimeyaona ni muhimu katika hili. Moja ni kwamba gharama.
The cost incurred is low but with benefits.
The presidential candidate for the United Republic of Tanzania from Chadema Party, Tundu Lissu, has continued with his campaign at Urambo District and Tabora Municipal, calling on residents to elect him onto the office so that he can address their challenges.
Kuna shida ya maji kama nilivyosema nchi nzima.
Tobacco, instead of becoming the crop that brings you relief, the people of Tabora, it has become a cry everywhere. The price of tobacco has gone down everywhere. In Morogoro, there is a big tobacco factory. Actually, there is about 2 or 3. These are big factories. When I had a meeting in Morogoro last month, owners sent a message to me saying, when you look at the amount of tax, owners sent a message to me saying that when you look at the amount of tax we pay to the government on tobacco, if we pay farmers the price they're asking, we will make no profit. We must reduce the amount of tax paid by tobacco factory owners so the burden will be less heavy, and then ask them to buy at a price good for the farmers.
The presidential candidate from Alliance for Democratic Change, ADC, Queen Sengida, encountered violence after the candidate turned up at the same area that was being used by CCM Iringa Urban Parliamentary candidate Jessica Msamba Tavangu to hold a campaign meeting.
Mimi nikampigia simu mkurugenzi wa Tume ya Taifa ya Uchaguzi Wilson Mahela. Kwa sababu gani? Kila ninapokwenda kufanya mikutano nikute kuna incidents hizi kwenye kila wilaya, na kila siku lazima nikupigie simu mkurugenzi, hili swala unalionaje? Akaniambia mheshimiwa, pole, ninalishughulikia. Nikamwambia nakushukuru, naomba ulishughulikia mapema kwa sababu na kwenda kufanya mkutano pale walipoweka wao na ndio tulikopanga kufanya mkutano, na wanajua kwamba IDC wanafanya mkutano. Naomba ufanye maarifa uwatoe. Akaniambia mheshimiwa, anafanya nini? Nalishughulikia.
A day after the presidential candidate from ACT Wazalendo in Zanzibar, Saif Sharif Hamad, was issued a 5-day campaign ban by Zanzibar Electoral Commission, the National Peace Committee has visited the candidate at his home to discuss on the importance of peace during the election.
Kwa upande wa kamati kuendeleza jitihada za wadau mbalimbali wengine wa uchaguzi katika kufikia malengo ya kuendelea kudumisha amani ya nchi yetu kwa kuzizungumza changamoto mbalimbali za kisiasa na za kichaguzi ili tuweze kufikia malengo ili nchi yetu endelee.
Kuna mambo mimi nitatafakari, lakini kuna mambo vile vile kamati watatafakari. Sasa ikaonekana kuna haja kukutana tena, tukakutana tena. Kama alivyosema kwamba wanakwenda kwa wadau wengine wakubwa katika swala hili. Kwa hivyo swala kubwa kama alivyosema ni amani, lakini na sisi tunasisitiza swala la haki. Bila amani, bila haki, amani tabu sana kupatikana. Kwa hivyo tunasisitiza katika mbio zetu zote jitahidi tuone haki inasimama.
Former Prime Minister retired Judge Joseph Warioba has said that during the campaign period, Tanzanians must be tolerant in order to safeguard peace in the country as life will continue after the general election. He made the statement in Dar es Salaam when speaking with the press on the election process.
Na sisi wa Tanzania tumeishi kipindi tangu tupate tumeishi katika mazingira ya amani.
As Tanzanians, since independence, we've lived peacefully. This is very important to us because you cannot do anything constructive if there is no peace. So during this time, all of us must protect the peace and finish the election peacefully. When we speak about a fair and free election, you must allow the citizens to have the freedom to go and elect a candidate of choice in a calm and peaceful environment.
The Chief of Defense Forces, General Venance Mabeyo, has directed the National Service to invest more in food and commercial crops so as to meet the food demand of the country as well as be able to export now that the force is implementing a rice irrigation scheme worth more than 4 billion shillings.
After the completion of the irrigation scheme, you must look at how you are going to research on other areas so as to further irrigation farming in the country. More effort must be applied in working with other livestock and fishery institutions so as to expand this sector. If we hired private transport, the cost would have been high. So far, we've spent 1,600,000,000.
Kwa hiyo sisi wana JKT kwa kushirikiana na taasisi nyingine za kiserikali.
As JKT working with other government institutions will make sure that projects are completed on time.
Hundreds of residents from Kigoma Ujiji Municipal turned up to receive the leader of ACT Wazalendo, Zitto Kabwe, at Kigoma Airport despite the police using tear gas to disperse them. Zitto Kabwe had arrived at the airport in the morning from Dar es Salaam, where he has been receiving medical treatment after sustaining injuries in the car accident that had occurred on October 6th in Uvinza district.
We've come to welcome him. We were not demonstrating. It was a peaceful welcome. I'm grateful to you for your prayers during the time we had the accident. I'm doing well and have started work today.
And that is the end of the national news. International news comes next after the break. And in international news, lecturers from Nairobi University in Kenya have demonstrated in protest against suspension of allowances, a strike that has been supported by Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentist Union.
Our existence as a union. We are here today because of a matter that has been raging on for the past 3 months. The payment of allowances to the doctors you see here is a non-negotiable. We are not going to go into any negotiations to talk about what they want to define as clinical allowances. That we shall not do. The only thing that we shall talk about is payment of those allowances. The monies were already approved. They've gone through the budgetary processes, through all approval processes in government, and availed at University of Nairobi.
I cannot work without supervision. But more importantly, I cannot work without the right people who are my lecturers behind me here being well motivated. So with immediate effect, starting on the 14th, which was Wednesday, we called upon our students to leave their clinical work within the wards, within the Chiromol, and all other students who are within the colleges of pharmacy, nursing school, dentists, to join this particular industrial strike. So for me, is to remind the Vice Chancellor that we do not wish to graduate. And I repeat, we do not wish to graduate as students. If at all, our lecturers are not paid to the last coin within the College of Health Sciences.
The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Hotel Owners Association in Burundi, are implementing new procedures aimed at preventing the spread of coronavirus on foreign visitors entering the country, whereby hotels are required to transport visitors from the airport to the hotels.
In a hotel, there are different sections, so those going to eat will not be in contact with those who have booked rooms, and we shall try our best to serve them in their rooms. The fight against COVID-19 is progressive. However, we will concentrate our effort at the borders so that those entering the country will have to be placed under quarantine for 72 hours.
Police in Rwanda have nabbed 8 people, including a police officer, who were impersonating as detectives when they tried to con more than 1 million Rwanda francs from a man using forged documents.
They are held on suspicion of fraud and assuming authority against the law, as well as making arrests illegally. If they are found guilty, then they could be imprisoned for up to 7 years.
And that is the end of the business news. International news. Business news comes next after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism has approved Mara, Songwe and Rukwa region to be among 26 regions to establish game meat butcheries, being implementation of a program expected to start before the end of this month.
Utakumbuka kwamba Tanzania bara tuna jumla ya mikoa 26.
In Tanzania mainland, there are 26 regions, and previously only 23 regions were permitted. But we've decided to open up butchers in all regions.
Na hii ni wakumbushe tu wa Tanzania kwamba biashara ya nyamapori ni fursa.
I would like to urge Tanzanians that game meat business is an opportunity which we would like it to be used in such a way that protection of wild animals is progressive.
Geita Municipal Council has allocated more than 230 million shillings for groups of people with disabilities in order to help them start income-generating projects and alleviate them from poverty.
There is more money going towards the youth, women, and people with special needs. You can do business such as brick making, tailoring, amongst others.
Agriculture stakeholders from Belgium are implementing a project aimed at supporting smallholders farmers practice environment-friendly and sustainable agriculture activities, which will also make them more productive and increase their income.
In a way, agriculture done already by a lot of farmers, but we believe that it is the way to go.
We would like more and more stakeholders to promote and to be engaged. So agroecology is a response to climate change effects.
Wenzetu balozi za Ubelgiji pamoja na Ufaransa katika hali ya kusaidia kuweza kuona kilimo chetu kwa wakulima wetu ambao ni wadogo ambao ni tegemeo kubwa la nchi yetu.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news comes next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Joaquinho, he did lose to Len.
And in sports, New Young Africans Yanga Sports Club coach Cedric Kazi has promised to entertain the club's fans after arriving in Dar es Salaam to take charge of the record league champions. Here's more on the story.
That Jangwani Giants had settled to hire the coach after the exit of Serbian Zlatko Krimpotic. After only 37 days in charge, the Burundian tactician finally arrived on Thursday night and was unveiled this week ahead of their next mainland Premier League match. Kaze has revealed his delight at getting the job to handle one of the biggest brands in East Africa and even the whole of Africa, and promised to achieve bigger things with the Jangwani Giants. Yanga media officer Hassan Bumbule explained why the club had settled to hire Kaze immediately. They parted ways with Krimpotic, who had won 4 matches from the 5 played, with 1 ending in a draw.
Tanzania will host its first ever IAAF recognized marathon on November 21st, which will take place in Dodoma. Here's more.
This will also be corporate social responsibility, because this year we decided it will help women with gynecologic cancer. In making it international, there are conditions to be followed.
Manchester City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne has been ruled out of their Saturday night Premier League game at home to Arsenal. Here's more.
De Bruyne had to withdraw from the Belgian squad after he was substituted during the second half of last weekend's 2-1 loss to England. City boss Pep Guardiola says he does not think the injury is too serious, but is not sure how long De Bruyne. The Belgian is among Pep's most important players, and he was the best PFA player of the year last season.
Jose Mourinho says he understands perfectly why his name does not appear in Arsene Wenger's new book, and that is because he often won when their teams met. Here's more details.
The pair shared a fierce rivalry, first when Mourinho arrived at Chelsea in 2004 and dethroned Arsenal's Invincibles, and again when the Portuguese returned to Stamford Bridge and took charge of a Blues side which honored the Gunners 6-0 in Wenger's 1000th game in charge of the club. It took Wenger 14 attempts to get his first win over Mourinho's side, coming in the 2015 Community Shield, and in total he won just 2 of their 19 encounters, the other success coming when Mourinho was in charge at Manchester United. The rivalry even overflowed into physical confrontation on the touchline during a Premier League meeting at Stamford Bridge in October 2014.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has indicated Harry Maguire could miss Manchester United's game at Newcastle on Saturday, saying the defender, who is struggling from and when was sent off with England, had picked up a knock. His story.
As part of a United defence routed 6-1 by Tottenham in the final league game before the international break, a loss that compounded an opening day defeat by Crystal Palace. The 27-year-old then received a red card in England's 1-0 defeat by Denmark at Wembley after getting a second yellow on 31 minutes. It is rare for Solskjaer to volunteer information regarding any player injury, but he said Maguire sustained an unspecified problem with England. There have been suggestions it will be in the interests of Maguire and United for the player to be taken out of the firing line. Solskjaer defended his captain, who stood trial in Greece before the season began.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. Thank you for watching and good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Some more spotted hyena. You can see these females are far larger than the males, and it's one of those species where the females are in control, which is yeah, yes. Okay guys, it looks like she's managed to find the rest of the clan, and you can see now why these guys are so prolific here on the plains. The moment that it gets dark, quite inquisitive. These ones, there must be a lot of, this is their home, so they're not used to being bothered, and this is where they feel comfortable and safe. And this is where the little ones will get born. And they also have babysitters. Some females look after other females' pups, and a very, very strong bond and social network and cohesion that they have, especially at their den itself. So they go disappearing into the holes, so they're making use of old aardvark holes. Comes home. Okay, it looks like that was a perfect example of this female that's very pregnant just passing through. It looks like she didn't even stop really, no conflict at all there, and she's just passing on. All the zebra in the background are paying attention but not too worried about her. And